Good morning. I am so sorry for this kind of commotion. This is all new for all of us. And it's so beautiful to see how the Florida conference, the ministry that is organizing this conference this year has worked so hard, because this is really difficult to create emails, passwords for each presenter, technology. I am not an expert in technology. I am totally lost. I don't know if you're seeing my screen, if you're seeing me only. I have my notes in the computer because it's a really interesting topic, right? The single parenting topic at 9 a.m. And I just decided to, rename it a little bit and put the power of self-understanding. And this kind of parenting style, is based on research and empirical evidence on how awareness, compassion, mindfulness, attunement, and resilience are crucial to the parenting process and how it applies to parenting today. You will be encouraged to work in your own growth, cultivating a coherent understanding of your past, reflect on your own experiences, and grow within the parenting role in order to support your child's own capacity for spirituality and be present for his life, or her life. So, as I was preparing for this meeting, I asked myself how I am going to do this. They might think like someone like me, a clinical psychotherapist with many titles and certification, would present, like many other licensed experts on the field, a parenting magic formula in how 3 simple steps we can create the perfect single parent-child dynamic. And I said, I don't want to do that, just to sit here and divide this monologue with an outline, definitions, and target objective. And so I saw everybody likes stories, the Bible is full of stories, and most of them, and most of the time we learn from those stories. In psychology, that is called social learning. We learn from hearing others going through that experience or observing others going through that experience. So I decided to share what I have learned through my interactions with the many cases I have encountered through the years of my clinical work. And one of those situations that is imprinted in my mind, in my head, when I was preparing for this, it was the case of Hannah. And we will call her Hannah. She is, I like that name, is the name that I choose for a character in the central character that for the book that I'm preparing to write. A very achieved woman. All successes have been marked. A prestigious profession, a successful career, financial accomplishment, a beautiful home, luxury cars, well-traveled, and married to a man that everybody thought it was the perfect husband and father to their children. But there she was, sitting in therapy, with a sad posture and with her eyes shed by tears. So she said, no meaning, lost without purpose. And she showed me pictures, through their phone of personal stuff, her belongings, a beautiful purse, a phone, a furniture, a piece of beautiful furniture damaged. And she said, with a sad posture, again, I have done this all my life, I get this outburst of rage that they have, that they take over me and destroy whatever is at my reach. And I also restrain myself from eating. Uh, she is married, but sad. Her relationship is a relationship that is bitter, and with a man that put her down, betray her romantically and financially. So she's sitting in front of me with the face that there is no way out. There is no way out. And sometimes, people wanted to know if you understand them, if you know what they are feeling, and they worry if you haven't gone through the same story, you don't know what they're talking about. But all of us in a way or another have something in common with Hanael. In a moment in time, many of us might have thought there is no way out. There is no way out of this situation. Or at least, someone like Hanael that might think, there is no way out. Or someone that instead of indulging, instead of using anger and restricting from food, they indulge themselves in food and eating. They use drugs. They bully someone at home or at a school in order to forget or to escape the void. I'm sorry. In order to escape the void, or to escape into the void of nothingness, until she or he forgets the pain within, the pain of no way out. Pain masks itself in different ways. But as I said before, all of us have experienced pain. And all of us, we have the eagerness to escape from it every day, to escape from pain every day. So, and we, and this desire of avoiding or escaping pain is that what led us to unhealthy choices, to forget the boundaries between ourselves and the boundaries with others. This desire of avoidance of the daily struggles of life, and the necessity to be loved, to be being recognized as a whole, and approval led us to unhealthy choices. So Hanael chose anger and restricting from food. But her story did not begin at the age of 47 or at 33, not even as a teenager. Her story begins years and years and years before, when she was a child. Her mother, Hanael's mother, was a minimizer, a high critic, a human being that wanted to rob the light and the smile of her children. But she did have no bad intentions. She thought that this is the way to create well-minded, strong individuals. She used to say, to her, if you don't do the best you can and waste your time with useless things and bad apples, people might think that you are worthless, and worthless people do not have a good opportunities in life. So Hanael's mother was just preoccupied with her own strivings, with her own yearnings, just like all of us are. She thought that she was doing the best job. She thought, she never thought of that she was doing was harming her kid. That's the best way to put it. However, she was building a wall. She was building a wall in Hanael, to the world. A world with little pebbles. Have you seen those little pebbles? They are very. You encounter all of them, in store that says faith, that says hope, little pebbles. But the pebbles upon pebbles that Hannah was building her wall was written with unworthiness, disappointment, insults, and frustration. And Hannah, her mother, and Hannah, she didn't know this. None of these things are done to set up intentionally to hurt our children. It's an interesting story that I'm going to share. My son the other day, he finally decided to get out of bed. I do my best to go and say, hey, wake up, it's late, wake up, you need to get up and, go and do something. So finally he decided to wake up, and he comes to me so upset and really disappointed, frustrated, and said, you get up every day thinking, let me think, what can I do or say today to bother my son? And that I laughed. It was so amazing. Give me the opportunity to laugh at life in a sincere way, in a loving way, in a compassionate way. And I laughed. But immediately I was aware of my own reality. And I responded, my love, I get up every day with the best intention to have a wonderful day. But just right now, I have realized that most of the time I fail. And also, this moment is giving me the opportunity to change what is making me feel miserable and surrender to the bigger plan. In this moment, I gave him the opportunity to do something that is called a rule governed behavior, a self-rule. He now is able to decide to create a rule for himself. What is the best time that you think that is healthy for you to get up and to have an interaction with your mother? And I will respect that. And he said a time. It was not fine with me, but I say yes, because I know that probably next week we will move it to another hour. So teaching our children happens in a way of other process and has nothing to do with love. But time after time, working in my clinical practice, I observed the greatest of intentions of some parents, and yet our children are collecting pebbles and pebbles of pain. So it made me wonder, it really made me wonder, how could this be? I thought that discipline and love is the only thing that we need to be a good parent, good enough to do everything I need to do for my son. They are essential factors, but I discovered that something else is needed to be done to be a good parent. And that is awareness. And I said it like that, awareness. What this mean? What does this mean? Awareness is the level of self-congruency, the ability that is characterized by the unity of your thought, your emotion, and your actions, mostly known as a self-integration or a person with integrity. To know, a person with integrity, that person knows, what is written in her own pebbles, because we all have baggage, a baggage. We all have in life a baggage full of pebbles, from our childhood. Some baggage might be light, some others might be heavy. We all inherited emotional distress from our childhood experiences. And that has caused on us to find out the authentic self and created this persona from which we operate. And it is in the integration, of this persona that we have created with the authentic self in the presence of light, is that we determine how present and tuned authentically we can be with our children. Love is great. Discipline is wonderful. But if love and discipline is not met up with our own integration, it's just not good enough. With love and discipline and great intentions, we are raising our children. And with great love, discipline, and great intentions, we're raising our children. And there she was, Hanael, at age 47, trapped in a cage of a bad life, unhappy, hurt, yearning to escape to the way of her past, but simply not knowing how to do it. You might be saying or thinking, okay, Maria, that's enough. Enough of those pebbles, of the baggage and the way. What is all that? Well, as I said, the pebbles are the childhood experiences, right? The baggage is this persona, and the way is the pain that we carry, all this unfulfilled expectation of us. Unfulfilled expectation of us. It is all of those experiences that we have not been able to articulate, to process, and they get a storage in our unconscious mind. Another interesting term, unconscious mind. Well, every science has its language, and they wanted to use that to really interpret that we have different ways to process memory, right? That is the memory that is the short-term memory, the one that is right now, that I remember what I said. Sometimes I don't remember what I said, but I don't repeat myself. And the memory, which is the long-term memory that, storage or collect information that is important, that you can remember, when was the first time that you have a new pair of shoes when you were a child, the first time, what was your first toy, and what those things that are important. So, but anyhow, there are thousands and thousands of experiences that we try to bury because they are painful. In order for us to keep moving and surviving and getting up every day, we just put it in a place that is not even the right moment, the right present moment, or the storage in the long, the good time memories or bad time memories. They get right there, trapped in somewhere in the brain, in a place that is called the unconscious mind. Instead, but we're not aware of it. And from that, pattern of schemas or pathways of communication, we operate. And because pain is something that we want to avoid. We have been raised in pain, right? We have been raised in pain. And because after all, it doesn't matter, but at the end of that, it will open up. No matter what we do, it gets to the point that it's unconscious. Everything will come up. I don't know what day. It could be when you're 47. It could be when you're 65. So from that place, we're raising our children as well, to protect them, to shield them, from the pain as well. And then we enter, one other thing that we do to avoid pain, like every day, not remember anything, is to get into the stories of other people. What you're going to do? You're going to go to Harvard? Oh, that's wonderful. And that is entertaining stories, and we want to be part of those, you met a guy, what you're going to do with your life, and want to open a business, and we get into those entertaining stories. We also get into the show of other people, little knowing that no matter what we do, it doesn't matter if we get ourselves into or our own entertaining stories. I'm going to go here, I'm going to do that, I'm going to have this, or the story of others, the dust will catch up to us. And yes, and it will be, accumulating and accumulating until it will, form a storm, a tornado, and it takes you in that, and then it threw you into the couch of a therapist's office. And this is John Doe. We're gonna call him like that. 65 years old, sitting in my office, presenting symptoms of general anxiety disorders and insomnia. And it just happened. He said, my life was fine, everything, I am happy. It just happened after I retired. But, digging a little bit, I realized that the story didn't begin there. Starting when his mother died at the age of 8 and his father, remarried and took him to a boarding school and left him there, and he didn't come to visit him anymore. So at the age of 18, when he, had to leave this boarding school, the only best options he had was to get into the army. And he went to the army. He was very successful in the army. And after that, he got opportunity to be in real estate, and he was a successful real investor, a lot of money. He, married, had a son. And from that dust, with the coming of that dust, he raised his family and son. I don't want to tell you, I'm not going to tell you what is the dynamic of relationship of his son and his wife with him. So leave it like that. We have to work in the story of our pain in order to have a healthy dynamic and relationship with others and our children. Yes, until we are willing to face our pain, the pain of our past and our fears, and allow our children to experience, the normal feelings, painful feelings. Sometimes we learn to tolerate the pain of those feelings. Sometimes if we don't learn how to tolerate the pains of the pain of those feelings will get untangled in a rigid persona, and then this persona will create the ego. Another word, the ego. Not just meaning someone that is narcissistic, vanity. Ego means a false sense of self, a self that is created to actually protect us from the pain. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's not ideal, but as I say, we didn't come to this world to suffer. That was not really the plan. So our children come to us with no boundaries, determined to have fun and feeling free. But in our homes, sometimes there are many egos, and those egos, are not fit to meet the pure essence of the life of our children. So our children start to giving up the internal essence of life, and that essence of life starts to crumble, and the innocence of a child gets adopted by the egoic energy of the parent. The well-desired, loving parent, not knowing that is bypassing the essence of the essence of life of our children. The parent begins to rob the child from the essence of life, and this poor child, not knowing, because children are so malleable, so moldable, so influenceable, they just give up and begin to contour the life with the map, contour themselves with the map and the journey and the agenda of each particular family. So the uncompliant, disobedient, rebel, we call them like that, they don't want to comply to our our request. You have to get up at this time, go to bed to this time. You have to go to tennis class and swimming class. The ones that don't want to do it and make a tantrum and, throw themselves on the floor, disobedient or compliant, and then we transfer our own punishment into them. So, and the more compliance, the more we call them good. We call them wonderful children. They are just a blessing, but they pay a great price. These compliant ones, they pay the price of their own authenticity. So the rebel and the compliant, both of them, they will both pay a price, right? The price of forsaking their own identity, the true essence of life, in order to please the demand of the family. Well, at the beginning, I said, I think I said that, at the beginning, I said the Bible is full of stories, and stories of heroes. They have to go to those dark journeys of rebellion and pain and come back resilient and triumphant or successful in order to reach the light of transformation. So there's an interesting story in the Bible. Entering into the belly of a big fish. This could be true, or is it an illustration to explain that we need to go inside into the deepest, darkest part that have not been encountered before, and from there, when we are comfortable integrating what is within, only then and only that in that moment you can emerge to our truest potential, and this will be the hero's journey. So all of us, including our children, they go into this journey, into this hero's journey. Sometimes the only thing that we see is darkness. But we do not realize that perhaps we are in the belly of a big fish waiting for transformation. So it is the caregivers, the gatekeepers of our children's journey, to show them that the darkest place might be the natural foundation through which can encounter light. Let us just show them that the darkest moments are the exact, precise, needed turning point to enter into the light. There's an opportunity. We as loving parents try to protect and shield our children, from pains and failures. And in fact, the more we shield them, the more they will pull into the precise pain that we shield them from. You remember the story of Hannah, that the mother was trying to protect her from pain, from failure? Well, not a good job. She was in pain. It will not be until we, as a parents, as a caregivers, or the gatekeepers of our children's happiness, that is not until we face our own darkness and pain and free ourselves from the shadow of our distorted perception, that we will be able to be an example of obedience to the essence of life in our children. In reality, there is nothing really to fear. it is only the reflection of your own limitations, or what, my own limitations, There is nothing really to fear. That is only the reflection of my own limitations. And I'm going to go and give you an example that can go wrong, but just give it an opportunity. If you don't like it, you just throw it out. Let's just go with the idea of losing your salvation. Where that idea is coming from? That idea is coming from knowing my limitations, because I know who I am and all the limitations I have, that I fear to lose my salvation. Facing our limitations, working in our limitations is a good thing. Probably we won't be able to change them all, or not even none of them at all. But now we know that we operate under that and from that place. And that is a great start, great, starting point. So, in this process of taking my clients to the journey of enlightenment, I always encounter this question, this predominant question: how do I do this? Right? How do I do this? How do I integrate all my pain, all my fears, and bringing them into the light? How do I surrender to the essence of life? And I walk as an example of peace, right? And no worries, this conversation is not to resolve the existential questions, how to find peace. Not at all. I have no idea. But I have this client, that I had it like when he was like 30 years old, and he continually said that he will be at peace the day that his parents die. And many years later, he came back to my practice because he said that I was the only person that he felt comfortable, processing his pain, in his presence, and in his presence. He was comfortable processing his pain in my presence. His parent has died, and he was still at emotional war. So I am sharing the little that I have learned in the journey, on my own journey, and I think that being a little bit more patient, that I can be. The most significant thing that I have learned is that we have a choice. We have a choice, the choice, and it's not the choice that we exercise in our children, the choice to having the choice of exercising, in the life of our children or in the life of others. The most profound choice we exercise in our daily life has to do with our internal self. The ability to encounter life the way that we are from, the ability to encounter life in two ways. And probably you have heard this before, right? Life is happening to me, and life is happening for me. Life is happening to me. How I deal with that situation. How do I deal with that situation with my uncooperative child, my disobedient child, my rebellious child? What happened right there immediately? A separation immediately rises. A separation, you know. You are doing this to me, a dynamic of aggression. You are hurting me. I am a victim. You are a bad person. Yeah, life is happening for me. Sometimes life guides us in the most painful way. Yeah. So ask yourself this dynamic with my child, what it says about me? What is reflecting about me as I need to grow? Can I grow the emotional and spirit? Can I grow the emotional and spiritual muscles that I need to take for this journey? Is this child mirroring me? Is mirroring something about me? Is something about me that he's mirroring me? Or back to me? That is true. Sometimes life mirrors back through our children to show us that we still need to grow. But we refuse this. We refuse this invitation because we constantly see life as happening to us. Every interaction with our children, every problem we face is an opportunity that will free us. The more compassionate these interactions will, help us to be more compassionate, to be more tolerant, to be more quiet. However, I know sometimes life throws at us a really twisted dark jokes. You have to go to a place, you're late. If you're not there, just I don't know, late to work and your child is misbehaving. How can I be so patient, loving, compassionate, tolerant, and quiet in this moment? So it is really difficult to expect, that every moment is perfect. But however, in the event, in this interpersonal events, because life is not happening to us, it's happening for me. In this impersonal events, life has nothing against you. God doesn't have anything against you. It's just something impersonal, an impersonal event. But in that moment, the way that we react to them in the presence of our children, in that exact moment, we activate choice, right? We activate the script for the next event. The interaction and dynamic, change because your children or, other people is just right there with you, is watching how you present yourself into that moment. So every time you encounter, this is about to finish. I think I take a lot of time, and I haven't, see if there's any comments or participants in this meeting. But anyhow, if you will see it, you will get something from it. I know it took a lot of time to get into the meeting, like 15 minutes, and trying to make it figure it out and see how invite people, or if people was here. It was a really complicated. So you can go, you can see in every moment, see your mind, goes your mind seeing in that direction. This is happening to me. I am such a good parent. My child is going to go to Harvard. Oh, this is so fascinating. And you start sharing all your, child's accomplishment. But when something difficult happens, you're just a victim. Oh, my kids are so, disappointing. They do this to me. But it's time that you can, step out and shift the perception and work in yourself. I can tell you, I'm going to move on. So, of all the stories that I heard, about my clients with their kids, and they portray them like this kid is so misbehaving, she's so sad, she's all this, she's all that. It's just a matter of minimizing and criticizing her because she's not compliant. She is just mirroring, my true reality, my essence, instead of my love, which is great, and my discipline, which is great, but the integration of your pain is not there. So they're just confused. So there are three things that you can do, right? Live the way that you're living right now. If you are in pain, that's living the status quo. Embrace change. Embrace it. Be humble and know who you are, or just leave everything behind, And the evolution of every human being, is always the opportunity for self-control and peace. We want our children to look us as the ultimate source of validation and authority. And we need to reorient the schema and follow first ourselves. Follow first ourselves to the source of ultimate authority. Think about it. Probably our kids, they don't need validation or approval from a broken soul anyway. Yeah. Sometimes that's something to think about it. You don't need your children to idolize you because, in reality, we're broken. We have to admit that. Teach your children to look inside them and find in prayer and meditation what is good for them. They know. You just need to be there as an example of peace and love, to let them process whatever they need to process. And then we will teach our children their own purpose and their own inner abundant connection with the source of life. So remember, problem is a start. All the problem with our children start with projecting our own limitations to our children and the desire to control and influence them and control them. And the control them is relational to the yearning that I have, or the yearning that we have in our own lives. We need to be honest and realize that we post on Facebook only the achievement of our children. And I know a family of 4 or 5 that one of them is just fantastic and all over the place, and the other kids don't exist. Nobody sees pictures of them doing anything. So only that's what we do, because then we look like we are a good parent. I've done a good job. Is this about me? This is my human limitation. If you do well, if you listen to me, if you do all this curriculum schema, swim, play the piano, play the violin, eat well, go to school, that says that I am a good parent. None of what I said means, hand tough and laid back from parenting. No boundaries, no rules, no limits. This doesn't mean none of that at all. It's to be, it means to be fully present, fully achieving, crafting, and understanding my limits, creating different rules every time, and creating rules exactly for yourself, and also knowing when your ego is in place, when it's about you, or when it's in the service of your children. So the emptier, I've seen a lot that the emptier we feel, the emptier as a parent or human being we feel, we're going to fill our children with garbage. We're going to fill the life of our children with, garbage, a lot of things that they don't want it to do. The idea that our children are straight A, and this idea that these grades and all these abilities and skills will make them fulfill, to make them feel fulfilled in life, it's just it's just an opportunity that I've seen, that I learned, that is, the emptiness, the identity of all the things that are wrong with me. So from today, I invite you to do parenting in a different way. Do not look, do not look at your child, to raise up, but look inside you and raise up your own level of consciousness and evolve to a new high, a new interaction, a new perfect, the sameness interaction with your children and the people you love. Well, I think I did a good job. I rushed as much as I could, and I hope, that at the end, the final thought is that we need to heal the pain of our own life experiences. We need to integrate, to be a person of integrity, where we are trying to live, match exactly, everything in it, everything in the essence of who we are. And from that point, it will be a little bit more easier. And I am in the journey of that. It's not something that you get to. It's not a place that you get to. It's a place that, it's a continuous work, a continuous job every day. Thank you so much. I was here. As I said, it was a little bit late, but everything was recorded. I didn't see anyone. So I think it's time for me to disconnect. Thank you so much for the time and your invitation. Bye.